Slot Machines 2.0, revamping the casino floor experience.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Excited to be here with a very esteemed panel. My name is Niall Murray. I'm from Murray International. We're based in Macau, and we do integrated resort development and openings. And very excited to talk today about Slot Machines 2.0, revamping the casino floor experience. I'd like our panel to introduce themselves briefly to you. Just give us a couple of lines and say hello. Kenny?
I'm Ken Jolly. I'm the Managing Director of Light&Wonder for Asia. I've been in gaming for a long time in my life, like over 40 years. So I must have been about 5 when I started.
55. Hi, my name's Ian Garner. I'm currently the VP of Slot Operations at LEDX Westside. I've been in the slot business in Asia for over 20 years with Macau, Vietnam, Singapore, and now the lovely Philippines.
Hi, I'm Mary Mendoza, the Managing Director and Principal Consultant at the Platinum Strategic Consulting Group. We work together with operators and as well as suppliers in order to support them with their needs related to slots market, casino operations, mainly on the land base. And I've been in the casino industry within 20 years. Yes, on to you, Luiza.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm Luiza, Head of Business Development at Popo Gaming. It's an honor to be on the same stage with such an expert. Thank you for the invitation.
Hi, I'm Jerry Chan, SVP of Electronic Gaming and Special Project in Okada, Manila. I will be same as most of them. have a ages experience in gaming. So yes, let's see.
Well, great, thank you, and welcome everybody. We're going to start off with a question for the whole panel, so you can pick it up as you go. But the term Slot Machines 2.0 suggests a major evolution. What do you see as the biggest shifts from traditional slots to this new era?
I guess we're all trying to figure out what 2.0 means. But, however, in markets around the world, and even here in Asia, different regulators change the regulations or change the requirements of the specifications of the machines. Some of the markets, it's not that dramatic a change. For instance, in Macau, we had a new specification, and every machine in Macau by the end of 2026 has to be changed out to the new specification. One of the big things that they wanted on there was a clock on the actual screen. They also changed some other small fundamentals as far as the random number generator went. There had to be a crypto-style number generator and a few other small changes. Philippines had a small change as well a couple of years back, but again, it wasn't mandatory to replace every machine in the market like it was in Macau. But that happens sort of around the world with different regulators that are trying to move up the standards of the specification.
Thank you, Ken. I think from an operator perspective, the games won't change that much. How can you change a game 100%? It's not going to happen. I think it'll be around things like cashless, e-wallets, these kind of things will bring the machines up to be able to compete with the online. A game is a game. Whichever vendor you go to, they're always going to be similar. The look of the cabinets are very similar. So I believe it's more around the technology of payment, how the guest interacts with the machine versus the system that it's connected to. I think those are the things that we will look at, and hopefully these guys can bring to the market so we as operators can use them.
So Slot Machines 2.0. Well, in fact, having been in the business for some time and working together with my colleagues related to slot machines and table games, we've seen a few evolution. And one of the things that we've recognized is it all dependent on, number one is the market, and second, it also depends on the regulatory requirements. Because there are some things that we'd like to innovate, but we couldn't really innovate because of the changes from the regulatory. However, one of the things that we've noticed is related to different jurisdiction. I think the Philippines is one of the best model on showing the integration of the traditional model into having it integrated with online, or let's say having it not on the floor playing, but as well as on the rooms. And so I think this is headed towards that direction, but would take some time. This is my perspective from our consulting businesses. To you, Luiza?
Well, I think slot 2.0 will be all about enhancing the journey of the players and not losing what makes it fun. And I think it will be more hybrid experiences with combining online and land-based experiences, social elements, etc. So I think technology will support, not replace. That's my thought.
Thank you, Luiza. So I like the last spot because most of them you already mentioned, but I just want to add on additional of my point of views. Basically, from the old days when you see a slot machines, it's like a single reel has been keep on changing. Until now, I would say the major key issue difference actually is cashless. You can see from, don't talk about coins to cash to Tito, now everyone is looking for cashless. There's a reason behind by using cashless is because like we are evolving. We try to use cashless to integrate between land-based and online to merge together. So I would say my philosophy for 2.0 actually is we need to see how we can bring the online and land-based together into a channel that to present to the players.
Very good. I'm going to jump in specifically now. I'll keep with you, Jerry. I have a question. The Philippine market has a distinct player base. How are modern slot machines adapting to local preferences while keeping up with the global trends?
Good, I like that question, thank you. Basically, to me, personally, I don't think so there's a difference, to be honest, between Philippines or in Malaysia or Singapore or whatever. But if you say you want to add some salt and pepper to suit the market taste, I would say it's like the manufacturer can come up with something like a Filipinos culture, the scatters or the things that related to Filipinos, iconic. Or they may need to make some changes on the denominations or language selection. As you know, Philippines, they're well used with English. But if you think that we can do some Tagalog, you think it's be more friendly and more attractive for them, so we be like paying respect. Because we do Chinese for Macau market. But we didn't think about doing a Tagalog for the locals market. Second things I would say is to add is like the risk appetite, because Philippines people, I feel personally, they like medium volatile game. Maybe need to fine tuning some of the games like high volatile or low volatile, but medium is the sweet spot, and then maybe with more mini or regular frequent small amount of price can be hit. This is what I'm thinking. But overall, it's more or less similar. And based on the current technology of the machine that's been developed by most of the manufacturers, the cabinet design, the lighting, the visual, the UI, UX, the sound system, everything is, to be honest, is part of the global market. And Philippines, they also love those type of visuals and graphics and been designed by the manufacturers.
Okay, good. Any other additions to that point?
I think there is one significant thing that I've noticed since I've been here is the prevalence for progressives. I think the attitude of the local player is it's a lottery mentality. They see the big jackpots, and you can see the parallel line between the coin in and the jackpot. It's there. It's absolutely a fact that people want to win the big jackpot here. I think there's more of a percentage of progressives on floors here than any other market I've seen. You go to Macau, the high limit is always, well, there's a lot of standalone product. Free spins, the players will play for these, but your average Filipino player wants to win big or go home. They want 100 million pesos or they want to get a grab home. And I think we have to look at the way the jackpots are structured. I'm not sure 4 or 5 levels. Maybe Ken's got some maths with his gurus back in the offices, but I think it's a lottery mentality. Let me win big. I want to change my life for myself and my families, and that's the way that they play. So certainly on floors that I'm looking at, progressives are the way, and standalones can certainly have their place, and SAPs, but a progressive would be the majority of your floor, and a way of making the vendors, and here's one for Ken, to stop them. There's a SAS limitation at 99 million currently on the vast majority of the machines, and to me that's nonsense. I don't know what happened to the G2S protocol. Maybe Ken's got a better insight to that for me. But why have a jackpot limited to 99 million? The money's there. It's in an escrow bucket, sat in the back of house, ready to go. You're losing marketing dollars. You're losing the ability to show the player that the jackpot is going up. It makes no sense to me because the coin-in is in parallel with the jackpot. So I'd like the vendors to look at the way that the SAS has a limitation on stopping the jackpot at 99 million and let it roll over and let us use that money. Let us change somebody's life. Let us show that we want to do these big jackpots. That would be my only comment on that.
Yeah, and on that, Kenny?
Yeah, like we do have technology now that we can go past the 99 million limit and still keep the integrity. So technology's changed a bit there in the last number of years since the original SAS protocols were issued.
Very good. Luiza, I have a question for you here. Pop OK Gaming recently launched land-based slot machines, a major move from online to physical. What drove your shift, and how does your team see convergence between the two formats?
Yeah, for us, the move was like a natural evolution. We've built a serious, like strong reputation in online space and decided well, we see the opportunity to move this excitement to land-based solutions. So players nowadays want a seamless interaction. So we want to build a bridge, will be a bridge, bridge the gap between online and land-based casinos. So I think our reputation in online space will be a good fit to land-based.
If I can add a little bit there, I think for a couple of years now we've talked about land-based and online converging together. I agree. I think you're going to see more and more of that. We're going to get much closer. You look at a company like Light&Wonder. Previously our studios that were developing games for iGaming were separate to the studios developing for land-based. What we've done, we've moved it now, so one person heads across all the studios, and you'll now start to see the latest games that are going into land-based going into iGaming as well. And over the next 2 years, certainly in the short term, but over the next 2 years, you'll see much more closeness to both being delivered or launched at the same time.
Very interesting. Ian, I wanted to ask you about how can you use a combination of new slots and system technologies to run the floor more efficiently with like better customer service, OPEX reductions, etc.?
Good question.
I thought so.
Yeah, I think it's what we touched on earlier. It's not just the slot machine. The slot machine is the end result, in my opinion. If you look at the most successful casinos in the world, they're not married to a dreadful hotel with dreadful F&B. They're married to a fantastic integrated resort package. So I think that it all starts there. If Ken releases a great new game tomorrow, by the end of the week, every operator in town has got it. There's no separation of our floors. There's not, because the same people come and play each resort. So what have you got to do? You've got to make your resort the resort of choice. And how do you do that? You make sure that your guests have the best experience in your resort. So you need all the tools that you can get to do that. So it comes from basic customer service, which is knowing your customers, treating them well, making your floor clean, tidy, presentable, very fundamental basic things that no machine or system can help with. But for the system, of course, you want to make sure you're comping the right guests for the right amounts. I look at table games with the evolution of the smart table, because the hold percentage on a side bet is so much more than the hold percentage on a standard game. By definition, you should comp this player more. You're winning more from them, so they deserve more back. You should take that theory to a slot machine. Absolutely. And use that to make sure you're comping the right percentage around to the right people. Simple things like Beverage on Demand, which is a system-generated app. You can personalize the drink delivery. You can name the person. If Ken wants his vodka martini shaken, not stirred, that's the way we can deliver it and say, there you go, Mr. Jolly, there's your drink. All of these things make the guest want to come to your property more than the property across the road. So you need to marry all of these things together. And when you marry the slot, the system, and the resort, then your resort becomes the resort of choice. And that means more spend and more visitations out of your guests. And of course, word of mouth will make that spread.
Anything to add on that? No? Okay. Yeah, I could ask you about what role does CMS play in today's and tomorrow's gaming floors with the availability of facial recognition, etc.?
There's a good follow-on to what Ian was saying a minute ago. It's how you look after your customer. So if you go back in years, a number of years ago, the monitoring of slot machines was easy because that was all done electronically. Tables wasn't so easy, but what we've seen in the last 12, 18 months is the emergence of the smart table, so where every bet is being tracked. So now we've had to move systems into that space as well. So what we can do now, we can track on a slot machine a player's bets, same on a table, bet by bet in real time. That wasn't able to be done a couple of years ago. The other thing that we've added is brought in all the smarts across the top of the system. So in other words, we bought a company called House Advantage, and House Advantage ran marketing campaigns across many other systems. We've used that technology to now put our modules, our new modules in the system across anyone's system, including our own and others. So what we're doing now is we're actually, with the AI engines in that, we can actually track a player, a single player, no matter where they spend in your property. So in other words, it could be in the shop, it could be in the F&B, it could be in the gaming, or it could even be if the casino's got a iGaming section, right? And all that revenue of that player is tracked individually to that player in real time. So what that allows you to do using AI engines and writing software according to that is to actually be able to reward that player according to what their level is. So a player, like say if you value players, and let's say we use the number $50,000 spend for a year. Well, one player might come in twice a year and spend $50,000, and another player might come in every week and spend a little bit and spend $50,000 at the end of the year. But they are very different players. In the past, we couldn't tell the difference because we used to put players in buckets. So we used to say, okay, this group of players are all similar, they are in that bucket. Now we can track individual play, and we can tell how that player is going and how we should be rewarding them. The AI engines are doing that for us today. So this is a dramatic change in systems, and it's a dramatic change that's going to help support the argument that Ian just brought up there. How does he look after his number one customers the right way versus a customer that's not so valuable to him? And that's the changes that CMSs of today that will drive the future and future player retention. In addition to that, we're bringing in things like facial recognition on tables and on slots. Now that means if you're a player, and it doesn't record your name, right? Certainly if the casino's got you're a member and you've got your card, it knows who that person is. But if you've been playing in the casino and you're not registered your card, you're not a member, somewhere in the database it's storing up images, it's storing up under a number, all the play of this particular person. If that person 5 years down the track comes and joins the club, all that past credit can be recognised and given to him as a credit, automatically can go into the tier he belongs to. Stuff like that, that's how systems are changing, and that's how it's going to drive the business forward.
Yeah, very nice. Mary, I have a question for you. For a new casino opening, whether it's a boutique or a mega resort, what should be prioritised when developing a slot machine strategy to align with market demand and floor performance?
Well, there are no one-size-fits-all into the answer. But there are also best practices that we've seen from boutique casinos into a range of, let's say, 50 or 50 machines into an integrated resort of 1,000 machines. as an example. So I've been privileged to work with various range as a consultant, along with my consulting partners. And what we've learned is that, as a best practice, is that, first of all, it's got to be data-driven. We really, just like what Ken has mentioned, that previously we were unable to track the players. We put them in certain buckets. But with the new launch that Ken was talking about, is that you could really identify what really ticks per customer. And so one is a data-driven approach. And second is that on the best practices is that we've seen certain type of mix of machines into 40, 30, 20, and 10%. 40% meaning that putting the machines into a popular type of machines, and 30% it's more on the new release of similar type of machines, whereas 20% it's really more on the new launch, and 10% is localizing it based on the market. So what I've seen in Africa, of course here in Asia, in the US, our project in Central America, some of them tend to focus more on the local market. So we need to ensure that this particular machines that we're putting in place is based on the market demand. That's why we do a feasibility studies before we really put the machines on the floor. It's not something that we just pick from the shelf. And we mix them together based on the investor's needs, and as well the operator in this case, and as well as what's in the marketplace as supplied. And so these are the 2 cents that I could share based on what we've seen from our previous projects.
Luiza, I wanted to ask you, as a new entrant to the land-based space, how is Pop OK approaching game design, localization, and player engagement different from the legacy suppliers?
As a new player in land-based arena, we understand that we need some fresh ideas in this market, and we are very agile. We are designing with understanding today's players' needs. So the bold move we made was combining standard slot mechanics with crush-style gameplay. So that's what we do for attracting new players into our online space players, attract to casino floor. So it's like the players who are used to fast and for very fast attraction of the game. So we are very agile, and we are designing our games with understanding of local preferences, of some region preferences, and that's what we do.
Very good. I see we got questions coming up there, but there's one big one I wanted to ask for the whole panel. What's one bold prediction you have for the future of the casino floor slot 2.0 experience in the future? One big bold prediction from each of you, please.
I think for a number of years now we've all talked about how do you get a younger generation player out of their bedroom playing online and into a casino. And I guess one of the things is I believe that over time the environment they play in is going to change. So in other words, I think the casino floor of today is a little bit old-fashioned. There's going to be areas on the floor or in the floor or around the floor that will have a more immersive type experience. So in other words, digital walls, digital floors, tying the product and the fare back to the jackpots, making it flash up on the walls, all sorts of things, maybe using symbols of, I'm trying to think of the word, but icons of players, things like that. So I think the environment's got to change, and there's a few people in the industry talking about it. No one's really done it yet, but there's a couple of places maybe in Europe, but certainly I think you'll see a change in other markets. That's bold.
I think I agree with Ken on that one. I think it's the casino that will change, the way the casino is presented to the guest, with video walls, video floors. The interaction of the machine and the guest will be more modern, an interface that the guest understands more. So I think it will be a lot more as a play game, as a PlayStation kind of thing, the way they bet. I think symbol-driven games, will my daughter want to play them? Probably not. She'll want to play something a lot more interactive where she feels she's got a way of manipulating the result. Hopefully she can't, but something along those lines will be the way forward, I would have thought. If you look at the way that the areas, say Galaxy Macau is the one that springs to mind with the big signage and the way they've made the big areas together, linked them one themed game in an area. I think those are way forwards that you can look at, be more interactive with the guest in that way, make it more as an immersive experience as you walk in. You feel like you're entering something rather than just entering the casino. I think that's something that we should all look at down the line.
Well, who would disagree? From Ken and Ian. In fact, I echo what they have mentioned. And so it's really fascinating how our industry has evolved, the land-based casino. And in addition to what Ken and Ian has mentioned, I would add into it on the market perspective is that the market, the Generation Z is very different from what we've seen when we first opened Sands with Ian and I and the rest of the team. Nowadays, I think the Generation Z, they're looking for more immersive experience, like Ian has mentioned. And immersive experience, to me, it means that they want something a bit more challenging. It's not just like you press the button of the real-time games. They want to have a little bit more bonus round. They want to have some more interactive, something more challenging. So it's no longer a traditional game that is based on luck, but it's becoming towards based on skills. And in addition to that, with the AI being in the marketplace as being the most game changer, I think this is also changing the way the players and as well as the suppliers are doing, let's say, presenting the products to the marketplace. And in addition to that, it really depends on the regulatory. But I think one of the best model is seeing how the Philippines is doing it by allowing, or soon to allow, or so perhaps Jerry can answer that, in terms of having the land-based into the online space, having this integration. Because most of the younger generation are glued on the phone or iPad. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
I think modern land-based casino will be more entertainment hub, not a gaming club. It's like you are talking about Generation Z, but I think yes, we have new models of slot machines, etc., with touch panels, etc. But the thing is, no matter how technology evolves, a spin button will remain a spin button because I think. It will be always, no matter how technology evolves. So yeah, we will do everything to walk in with technology, but the land-based casino will always be for the players who want to interact with each other in these gaming hubs. So it will remain as it is.
Just to add up, I would say starting from the casino floor, you will see starting changes, okay? Because the traditional way of the casino floor is not say outdated, but if to attract more Gen Z person to come in, maybe you will start seeing a lot of setup like you have a game teams area, you will have a social gaming area, you will have a tournament area, and then you may have e-sport area set up inside the casino to cater all different type of players around the world. This is one thing. Second thing we need to looking is how we can bring the cashless integrated to, because most of the Gen Z, they like to play online. So you need to think about how you can capture them to come to the casino by using a same wallet. There's no difference between like you playing online or playing land-based. So there's a lot of things that need to work together with the manufacturer and the operator, maybe starting from the slot machine, try to bring the UI UX of the screen to look more similarity with the online games, how the button deck, the spin, instead of you have the line bet and the credit bet. So maybe you will have a universal, one betting structure, the design, the artwork. So the feel is like, more or less is the similarity and the continuity. Means it's like, example, I play this game A in the casino. When I go home, I can go to online. Actually, I continue playing the game A through online. So they won't feel like, two different worlds. They are still in the same world. And of course, on the marketing like the AI driven right now, so you can personalize the promotions, direct give to the player itself to suit their taste. Because at the moment, most of them is based on ADT to give out, okay, if you are in this category, these are the offering. But maybe I don't like the offerings. I may like something else. So that's why if you're using the AI-driven, the data analytics, so you know more about the customer taste, then you can give what they wanted when the times you want to give them the rewards. Yep.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody on the panel, for your great insights. Please welcome me in a round of applause for the great team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Niall, and to your panel. We did have some questions that came up on the screen, but you were so engaged in such an awesome conversation, we didn't get to them. But I will encourage everyone, grab these ladies and gentlemen as you need to, ask them the questions that you want to. But right now, I'm going to dismiss you from the stage and say thank you very, very much indeed. Niall, you have to stay.